Good evening, New Bedford Guide. Chris Resendes back for the Chris Resendes Show. Today, another episode of something that we need to talk about more often. We've touched upon it many times from all different angles. But today we're going to talk to two individuals. One who's been here before, and can't wait to chat with her and get her nerves out right away and just start her up. And then another new guy I met today, Jeremy, through our guest Adelia. And Jeremy's going to tell us his story about his struggle with mental illness and what he's overcome and what he's been through. But first, we had another guest scheduled tonight, Tanner Gracia. Tanner's a young little boy, 9 years old. He's got epilepsy. He's had it since he was 2.5 months. He's on the autism spectrum. A good friend of mine, Joe Borges, reached out to me, tried to help this little boy. The sad truth is someday this young boy may choke in his sleep due to his seizures. They've tried everything to control the seizures. Nothing seems to be working. Can either hurt himself during the seizures or actually choke and die. He's had a few scares at night. There's a GoFundMe, something I really don't push too often around here. But this one, I'm going to. If you have it in your heart to donate for this young 9-year-old boy, Tanner's looking for a service dog. And they're $20,000 service dog. This dog will warn him about seizures that are coming and alert his family members as well. And this could actually save the young man's life. He's a 9-year-old, he has it tough. And whatever you have in your heart, if you're watching this show tonight, $5, $10. I mean, you get 1,000 people to do $5. That's 1/4 of his goal. And we can do that through New Bedford Guide. Gosh, if this idiot here talking can coordinate 300 kids and 400 backpacks in 4 hours and get everybody else to jump on board to my crazy ideas, I think we can raise $5 each, 1,000 people. And we'll put the link for the GoFundMe for Tanner. It's called Pause for Tanner. His story is on there. I didn't do it any justice. When I talk about my mom and I talk about children, I don't do well, so I can't really elaborate too much on it because I'll probably break down. I know if it was my son and I thought that this dog could help him live a better life and a longer life, I would hope that everybody around would be able to help my kid out. And I'm doing my part by sharing this, and I hope you do your part by maybe donating a few bucks if you find it in your heart and in your budget. I understand times are tough, and money doesn't grow on trees, because if it did, I'd go to that tree right now for this young man. That being said, we're going to move on to the next topic, another topic that's not easy to discuss. Topic: suicide, mental illness. As you can see, the Keep It 100 shirt. This was a shirt made by the franchise group here in New Bedford. The money goes to the New Bedford Suicide Coalition, and the idea came from a friend who took his own life, John Winterhalter, one of the nicest kids ever that nobody knew had issues. And this is his way and his friend's way and his family's way of raising some money to bring awareness to this topic. I mean, we could do it through shows, but eventually we need money to help people, to get people services they need. And Reverend Lima does a great job with the coalition. And if we could raise a few dollars to get that done, buy the shirt. I'll post a link at the end of the show. I think Nick Francis is doing it for another day or two. I think I spoke with Joey this morning, and we're going to go through that. I also got a link that we're going to talk about throughout the show that Joey shared with me this morning. New York is going to be the first state that is actually putting mental illness awareness classes in school programming.
Awesome.
So enough of me, enough of my down demeanor that I have about so far the two topics that I spoke of, one as a child and one as a friend. So it's kind of tough for me to get the Chris Resendes upbeat spirit going, but we're going to try to make best of the show from a tough start We're going to start off with our guests today. We're going to introduce them, and thank you so much, especially to you, Jeremy. I mean, Adelia's already broken the ice. Yep. And I know it's probably not normal what's going on here, that you being in front of cameras.
No, it's definitely not normal.
I appreciate it, and you know, just being here, I hope it's therapeutic to you.
Yeah, definitely.
I know it actually, we spoke after your show, Adelia, and you said that it actually kind of helped you out a little bit when you were on, even though you're ready to die, which it looks like you might be. But you brought your guy here, so don't worry. Nate's here, and we all know you're badass on your own, so you can handle this. Gosh. The topic's mental illness and suicide prevention. And I don't want to tell you a story, Jeremy, so you tell us, like, what happened in your life to get you here on, you know, why did you come to my show, and how did I say, yeah, we need to get this guy on to tell his story?
In 2013, I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and I've been struggling ever since, until probably since I found my fiance in 2016. So it was a tough 3 years for me, and I've lost friends over it. I've lost so many friends. I've got myself in trouble sometimes because of it. I've got falsely arrested over it because they didn't understand the mental illness, and it's just been.
When you say falsely arrested, you haven't.
They got me for a DUI, and I don't even drink.
So it was that bad where they thought that you were under the influence of something?
Yeah, they said I was moving my leg, but I always move my leg.
Yeah.
So it's my anxiety.
Tough.
Yeah.
Now that happened to me. I got into a car accident during a really bad panic attack, and they asked me if I was on any drugs or drinking. I mean, thankfully they believed me. Well, they brought me to the hospital and stuff, but the same thing happened to me. Yeah.
That was when you lost your dog too, right? From what I recall the story.
Yeah, that dog never left my side, but that day he was so freaked out when we were getting pulled out of the car. He ran out and he was hit by a car down the street. Yeah.
On top of you smashing your car.
Yeah, totaled it. Yeah.
So you go through this tough period, 3 years, basically.
Yeah.
Prior to this, was everything normal, or did you always know something was off?
It's always been off, but it wasn't constant. Like when I tell people about clinical depression, it's normal to be depressed in life when someone dies or when you have sadness in your life. But the difference between that and clinical depression is you could be sad after hitting the lottery. Like nothing in the world can make you happy for that second. But
so when you're that down low, see, imagine that, just that thought alone. That's, you know, a lot of people just off what you just said should realize how bad it is that once you're in that mindset and that state where you're just depressed, there's nothing that can get you out of that hole at that moment.
Not at that moment. It takes some time. Like even my fiance, who's wonderful with me, she understands it, and it takes her a good, because I still get depressed now and then.
Of course.
It's not a constant anymore.
Yes.
But it takes her a good 15, 20 minutes to get me into a good state of mind. So, and she's wonderful with me, so.
Now you're obviously, now since being diagnosed, you're on prescription medicine?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Is that helping? Do you find yourself, see, I have a friend who takes it, and I've discussed this with him too, that the meds kind of shield the bad thoughts, but they also stop the happiness as well too. Like he's got no emotion at times, where it's like he doesn't even have happiness either. He's just blank, and it seems like he's missing out on happiness. Like you give up when you're taking these meds, you're giving up happiness in order to not be depressed. So you kind of just down this road, a middle road. Is that a good explanation, or?
It depends on the person. Like for me, that hasn't happened. I'm the same. I have the same personality off my medicine that I do on, but I can't just stop my medicine if I wanted to, because I did that in a suicide attempt actually, because I knew that I read it up and you can get flu-like symptoms if you stop any type of depression medicine or any mental illness medicine for that matter. And I read it up, and so that was actually one of my suicide attempts. Was my blood pressure went to like 230 over 160.
So when you say suicide attempt, one of them, how many times have you actually tried attempting suicide?
I haven't counted, but I've been hospitalized like 6 or 7 times since 2013.
Now, when you say suicide attempts, is this taking too much medicine?
Yeah,
or?
it's always been medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get it pumped out and whatever. And
yeah, they give you like charcoal or something.
Wow. Now, gosh, I've actually witnessed somebody take too many pills in my life, and it was scary. And watching people, like that person did not want to be helped.
Yeah.
Not to get into names of who it was and whatever, it was a family. They tried ripping the pills out of the person's mouth, you know, because they caught them doing it.
Yeah.
And literally, like, almost lost their fingers. Like, this person just was like, I got to do this, you know, and it's so, someone they loved and respected, you know.
Yeah.
Adelia, I mean, what do you deal with anxiety, and, you know, we've talked to you in the past. Has it ever gotten to this point where you said, man, I don't want to do this anymore?
Oh, many times.
Yeah.
But luckily it's only been thoughts, because it's never been actions. I've never attempted. You know, this is something I'm very close with. I talked to my counselor about, and I've talked to my physician and any doctor that knows that I have anxiety, and they've treated me for it. They always, so how's the anxiety, how's the depression, stuff like that. So it's something that always gets brought up. But I've never, and so my point is, so my counselor has told me before that there is a difference between just having thoughts and actually carrying out plans and attempting. For me, it's not all in your head, but the only way to control this is overpowering your mind, your state of mind. So when I have these like negative thoughts, I'm just like, God, take the wheel. Like, just, I know this too shall pass. This is going to pass.
Yeah.
And you know, I just start think about all the blessings I have in my life, like how healthy and happy my kids are, and you know, the amazing husband that I have.
I was gonna say, wait a second, even the husband.
You know, yeah, of course I'm gonna bring him up. Yeah, I mean, he really is amazing, and he's put up with a lot, and he calls me his angel, and I'm like, you sure you're talking about me? You know, like, so I just think about all the positive things, and this is an activity that I tell people in the group that I've told them about before. Shift your mindset, because thinking negative and having negative thoughts becomes addictive, and it's a habit.
Absolutely.
So when but you have to catch yourself, because if you don't catch yourself, you go down this hopeless negative hole. So like when I catch myself, you know, saying things like, oh, I could never learn how to do this, and it's like, wait a minute, thousands of people have learned to do this, have succeeded, and they've done it. I can also do it. I'm no different. Just shifting your mindset, whatever you're thinking about that's bringing you down. But it's something you have to work on every day. Like, you go to the gym to work out because you want bigger muscles, or you want to be a thinner person. You have to do it every day, or you won't see results. This is an activity. It's
everything in life.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak on mental illness. I've been down in the gutter, you know, to the point where I thought when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is pretty rare for men. It's a thyroid. It's actually not very common for women either, but for a man to get it, it's very. And a lot of women are actually misdiagnosed with depression who have Hashimoto's.
I've heard, yeah, and anxiety also.
And anxiety. So I went through that stage where they actually thought I had cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. Like, I'm going to Dana-Farber. I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So the closest I've had, like, I was in a bad place. I truly was. Just wasn't happy. But I attributed it to not sleeping. I just had a baby and getting older and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So life is just, you know, different. So, but turns out it was through my thyroid. So that's my only experience with depression. You know, and everybody, like you said, everybody gets down and out.
Yeah,
it's a normal.
It's a normal thing.
And anxiety is also normal. to have, like before a New Bedford Guide interview or before a job interview or a first date. But when the anxiety keeps you from living your life, leaving the house, or going to work, or meeting up with friends, or driving,
it's debilitating.
Absolutely, I've been there. So.
Well, when we first met, funny story. I'm glad we just talked about it, that we met before the first time you were on the show. You actually don't even like drive on Route 6 in Dartmouth. You're like, man, you could have picked the worst place. We met at Marisol's, and she's like, I hate this. And so now when we left Marisol's, I was like watching you. I'm like, is she going to be all right driving? Like, should I like clear the way, let's get her home?
You know,
but it's that bad to the point where your anxiety limits your ability to feel comfortable driving.
Yeah, and after and I never told you this because I didn't want you to think I was like weird.
I already thought that, but go ahead. Yeah.
I was driving right behind you, and when we were leaving, when we left, and my fingers started to tingle, my toes started to tingle. I'm like, so I started to do my self-talk, like, it's fine, you have his number. And I actually thought about, like, I had my phone in my hand. I'm like, I'm going to call him, I'm going to tell him I'm going to pull over, and I want him to be there with me. Like, I was, like, that nervous.
Oh, no.
It was the second, and I remember this, it was right where Duncan is on your right on Route 6 going towards New Bedford.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to be okay. And so I just started to breathe, and I knew my safety net was that I could call you, and you were right there, and I knew that you would help me out. And I felt
I wouldn't be like Nate, but I'd at least try to console you because, I mean, I don't know.
Just having somebody there.
Absolutely, I get it. It's
feeling safe, yeah.
When I'm through my spot, it was, you know, my son and my wife that would be the only ones that could, you know. My mom was like, something's off. She thought I was just scared because, you know, they thought I had cancer. So they thought it was that, you know. Turns out I didn't have cancer, and turns out I wasn't depressed. I was just, my thyroid wasn't regulated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of diagnosis, now you went through this whole thing. Like, what made you go out and get your help?
My family was the big reason. I have the biggest support system I could ever hope for. So without that, I don't know if I'd be here. So that's why I'm trying to give everyone else the support that I had. I won't rest until the stats go down on suicide. Right now, it's the second most leading cause of death from ages 15 to 34.
Yeah.
And that's not good at all.
And it's going up significantly in that age bracket.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some of the people are attributing it to less nuclear families. Other people are talking about because less of a support system. Other people are talking about just no connection with other humans in life because their parents are just, here's a video game, get away from me. And others talk about food being an issue. So there's something with that age group that why it's skyrocketing at the pace that it's at, you know. And maybe it's social media. People like unhappy with what their wall looks like, you know, what their highlight reel. I call Facebook a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Nobody goes out there and puts pictures of this is what I look like in the morning, and you know, I look like crap. And yesterday, me and my wife got into an argument, and it sucked. No,
nobody wants to hear anybody's laundry at the same time.
You know, but we all do it. You know, I did a thing on where I said we're all broken, and it caught a lot of traction because.
It's true.
It's true. We're all broken, you know what I mean? We all have our issues, and luckily, you know, you have the support system you do. A buddy of mine that I brought up earlier, it seems like his family was kind of like, no, you're not sick. You're just doing it to yourself. Yeah. You know, you did steroids, or, you don't want to own up to what you did wrong, so you blame it on being sick. Did you ever encounter that, either of you?
I've had friends tell me that. Like, the worst thing you could tell someone when they're down and out is to just get over it. Mm-hmm. And I've had people tell me that.
Yeah, gee, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
I'm depressed, I'm not feeling good, I don't want to be around, I'm thinking about killing myself. I'll just get over it.
Yeah, like it's easy. It's far from easy. If it was far from easy, the suicide rate wouldn't be that high.
Right.
Absolutely. What are we at, 50,000, 60,000 a year, right?
Yeah, about that. It's in that range.
Yeah. How about yourself? Have you had, like, I know that we talked, I think, and I briefly remember you saying, like, your mom was like, no.
Yeah, actually, after our interview, it was Thanksgiving, and it was family, and there were, it got brought up, the subject, and I had a family member that was in crisis, and so that was brought up, and you know, a family member which I love, no matter what they say or how they think, they had said that it's all in your head, not just to me, but to the family member that was in crisis. So these issues were being discussed out in the open at the table. You know, thank God my husband wasn't there, because I don't know if he would take that. But anyways, yeah, it was brought up, and this person got really really theatrical and was saying it's all in your heads. These doctors are pumping you guys with pills, and I mean, not to me specifically, because I'm not, but like it's helped me before in the past. But like I've said, you do whatever you need to get on with your life. But yeah, basically saying that it's all in our head. We're making this up. I mean, the doctors have made it up, this huge conspiracy to keep making money off us, and that's just not true, because I lost like 8 years of my life, and it's real. It's real. Like, I can't show it to you, but it's real.
Oh, you're talking about it, and like I keep doing this. A lot of why I want this awareness to come out, and I've told you this, is because I need people. Like, I do it for my selfish reason. My selfish reason is one of my best friends has clinical depression. He's got bipolar, all this, and that's why I keep beating on this. I keep beating on this, and I keep beating on this. Part of it because even his own family members don't recognize. I think now they do, but like, him and his brother don't talk, and it bothers me, and it's just like, he's sick, and then one thing that resonates that really bothers me about the situation was like, what, every 6 months or every year I got to deal with this? Like, dude, the person who is sick deals with it every single minute.
Single day, yeah.
And you're selfish enough to think like, oh, I got to deal with this when he goes off the reservation for a little bit, because at some point you kind of do. Absolutely. You have your moments where you just get in a rut with your anxiety. I'm sure you have. I mean, obviously we're going to go back and talk about your several attempts. Yeah. And then you get the people that self-medicate, like my buddy did, Yeah. And that's when he really, gets bad. Yeah. So it's bringing awareness to this means a lot, to me, and I appreciate you guys being here to talk about mental health, and in your case, suicide attempts, because if we help one person tonight to make them feel like, hey, it's okay, I'm not just this crazy person alone at it, there's people out there that can help me out, there's groups, we'll talk about your group, and we'll actually post it on here.
Jeremy also has a group that he set up also.
Excellent. Yeah. Jeremy's got a couple comments. Lori McLeod says, hey, Jeremy, and Alicia Dillard says, I love you, Jeremy, always and forever. Who's that, your girlfriend?
That's my cousin.
Your cousin.
Who was the other one?
Lori McLeod and Alicia Dillard, yeah. So they're watching and they're supporting you.
And he also has a race coming up that he set up.
Yeah. It's a suicide prevention walk.
Where is this?
It's going to be in at Bottomwood Park. It's going to go near the hospital.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You'll have to give it to us. We'll definitely, I'll definitely put it up, get it going.
The just about done, so.
Let me know, and we'll, we'll plug away. I mean, just like I do the shirts, anything that helps. Get it by tomorrow. Franchisegroup.com. Don't go there yet. Do it after the show, because I don't want you to leave. That's why I don't put the link up.
I love that. I love that they did that they're showing their support.
Man, here's a family that had everything except their little boy now. And what a wonderful family. When I tell you, like...
I've heard great things about them.
When I tell you, like, a wonderful family, there's no one out there that has bad words to say about them. Mm-hmm. John was an excellent human being, and I'm not just saying that. I'd said it before, And his brother Joey and I, that's like my dude, Always has been. And, whatever I can do to keep John keeping it 100 and helping out, and he's part of this, he's part of what you're doing here, talking about it. That's what we're going to do, Now, you go to these, let's talk about the medicine part, because obviously you went how many years undiagnosed?
Well, I was 24 when I got diagnosed, so.
So that was, and now for 4 years, right?
4 years.
Well, now
no,
it's
5 years.
5 years now, so actually more than that. 6 years, 2018, for my math date, right?
It was 2013.
Oh, I thought it was 12, my
No,
fault.
13.
So we're at 5 years, you started taking the meds. How long before the meds actually worked? Because that's been a big issue. It seems like with every different person, it's like, all right, we're going to try a little bit of this, and then, oh, no, you're not doing good, and we're going to try a little bit of that. And the side effects, if you read and like you hear those things, like may want you to commit suicide. Wait a second, I'm here to take this so I don't commit suicide. One of the side effects means that I'm going to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Like, let's discuss the struggle with getting your medicine right, because I'm sure it was a process. I know for my friend, he's still tweaking it. He's still tweaking it and still tweaking it.
Yeah. It took a good, I'd say at least 6 months before they got me on the right medicine. And still to this day, every now and then, I have to go back to my doctor because it just stops working. Because your body gets used to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my doctor told me.
Yeah.
Is after a while, it can stop working and you just need to up the dose or change the dose.
Now, you get it right after 6 months.
Yep.
Why the suicide attempts afterwards?
Because it doesn't work 100% the medicine. A lot of what helps me the most is probably counseling. Seeing that counselor once a week or now every other week. Talk to somebody. That helps me the most, is being able to talk to somebody about your struggles. That helps me the most.
Keeping busy.
Keeping busy helps me even more.
Silence and loneliness is probably the worst thing for anybody that has any form of mental illness, I think.
Yeah, keep being quiet and keeping it all in some people are like that. Like, I have friends that are like that. Like, they keep everything in, and that's the silent killer right there. Is like Robin Williams, for example. I don't think he was the happiest guy that on the outside that you can think of, and all of a sudden he commits suicide. Like, you just never know.
You never know. And that's, that was the case with John. No one ever knew, Just one day it happened, and just like, wow. I don't know, like deep in the family if they had inclinations of it, but man, I could tell you I had no idea.
I didn't find out till later on in my 20s, like my mid-20s, that it was actually it was very common in my family because nobody talked about it.
Portuguese, proud family.
Yeah. Nobody went to counselors, like nobody talked about medication. That's embarrassing.
Well,
it's
private. Embarrassing, and I mean, gosh, it was one of those things. And growing up in a Portuguese family, ele é doido, and you hear that like it's tossed around like he's crazy,
and that's very
and it's just
disrespectful for someone.
Well,
to
now
call
that you look at it, it's like, well, no, he's sick,
Yeah.
And they just dismiss it as they're crazy.
Yeah.
All right, that crazy is actually an illness, that
And
could be really severe. That a lot of people die from, by taking their own lives.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if it's not real, then why are people suffering? Why are people dying?
Of course,
If
and
it's
that's
not real.
part of shows like this, and part of your walks, and part of your groups, and part of the stuff that you post, and just coming out and saying, I'm sick, look at me. I mean, look at you. You walk around, guy not going to say, hey, she looks like she's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your husband may say that.
No, he thinks I'm an angel, remember?
Yeah, right. But we got to destigmatize this.
Absolutely.
And I want to keep doing shows like this to show that everyday people like yourself, Jeremy, and like Adelia, there's normal people suffer daily. And anxiety is a mental debilitating disease. Like, you lost function in your life for 8 years, you said, because of anxiety. So when people say like, oh, I got anxiety, like, don't throw that around. Like, some people actually suffer.
Like, I think it was a Kardashian that I saw on TV or the internet was like, oh my God, I had a panic attack. Like, no, you didn't. Because if you had a panic attack, you would be feeling like you were dying.
Yeah.
You're not breathing. You can't see. You can't hear. Like, I would never wish it on my worst enemy if I had an enemy. Like, it's the worst. Would never wish it on anyone.
It's to the point, like, all right, so if they say they have it, it might be beneficial, hear me out, because they have such a following and they normalize it. and that's what we're trying to do, take away the stigma.
Right, yeah.
But it's tough to give a Kardashian any credit, in my mind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just anybody in general. But
I know, but I can't stand those people. So,
me neither, yeah.
It'd be good if they used it towards taking away the stigma of it. Like, go for it, Courtney or whoever else is there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Kanye, he came out that he's bipolar.
Oh, yeah. It's been obvious for quite some time. Kanye's
been
been angry for a lot of years, and that's the reason why.
And very random, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people who are bipolar are actually extremely intelligent. Mm-hmm. And I do think that Kanye isn't super intelligent.
I agree, yep.
He's, you know, he does some off-the-wall stuff, but now he's sick, you know?
And the word crazy gets thrown around a lot, but the thing is,
I say crazy in a different way, like
yes.
Off the wall, crazy. Crazy as in mental illness, no. There's a difference when I say it and, you know, how I mean it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I notice that word gets thrown around when people don't understand something. It's your ignorance.
Well, want to hear what else my buddy said it? Whenever someone's talking to you and they're like, that's crazy, you know they're not listening to you.
Oh my God, yeah, I totally agree.
Like, you know, you'll be talking to them like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, you know, and that just means I'm not paying attention to what you're saying.
I've done that before.
Of course you have. Everybody does. Yeah. So, Jeremy, you got you know, you're on your meds. 6 months goes by.
Yep.
And you're tweaking it. What led you to the suicide attempts? And then when you get to that point, please also explain the process of what help is available to you after, because I think there's also an issue with that. Yeah. I think there's a problem where somebody says, hey, listen, I'm sick, I got a problem, I'm going to take my life right now. But then the following 6 months afterwards, there's not enough to fix that for you, to help mend the wounds that got you to that place, and then to set up a plan to get you out of that hole.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me is not everyone has it. It's the support system that you have. That's the biggest thing that gets me out of it and keeps me going.
By support system, do you like, I want to like show people, do you like when people keep checking on you? Because that can drive you up a wall as well. Like if every day, like, Jeremy, you good? Jeremy, you good? Like, hey man, leave me alone. Do you get to that point, or do you embrace all those calls that you get?
That's difficult. Like, I don't mind the calls, but I'm just talking about like people that I can count on to reach out to when I am down.
Oh, so you want the person on the other end of the line when you call to be available to just hear you out and just
talk to me,
you,
calm me down. Like I have friends and families. I have so many family members that understand it and is willing to talk to me. Then my fiance that I met in 2016, she's been huge for me.
Yeah. That's good to have, man. Because there are people out there that don't have it, and their lives are ruined, and they take their own lives eventually because of the silence. Now, when you have the support system, though, like, you also have to go to a hospital. No, they pump you with charcoal.
Yeah.
You go to St. Luke's, I'm assuming?
St. Luke's or Charlton.
Charlton. So you've been to St. Luke's. We'll just say St. Luke's for generic purposes. Yeah. Pump you with charcoal. What services do you have after that there? What services now do they provide you that can help you get on the right path besides your support system? Because obviously now you're going to have medical professionals evaluate you and then set up a plan. Do you feel like the services after a suicide attempt are adequate?
I don't think it's where it needs to be.
What improvements would you make?
I just think they should have more people that work with the crowd, like the people that deal with it, more experts. Like right now it's almost, it depends where you go. Like there are good hospitals and there's some ones that aren't so good. Right now it's more of a keep you safe, which is good, but it's not so much getting you better.
Keeping you alive and fixing you are two different things.
Yeah, exactly.
And you think that they're mostly keeping you alive and not fixing you.
And they can only keep you for 3 days, right?
It's 3 days. I've been there for 5 days, but it's mandatory 3.
Mandatory 3 on an attempt.
Yeah.
And then after the 3, how do they sign you out? Like, how do they?
A doctor has to do it.
Yeah.
But you can just leave on your own? Like, a family member doesn't have to? I'm just wondering, if that's okay, I don't mind.
You can ask any question. You don't have to ask me for permission.
No,
plus I'm a little scared. You may give me a right hook and put me in a naked choke or something.
To sign you out. of a hospital.
So after 3 days, it's clear that you're going to try again. They can actually hold you or send you to a different facility.
They can hold you.
Hold you, yeah.
Yeah. If they don't feel you're ready to go out, they can hold you forever. If it would have to be court ordered after a certain
amount of time. Correct.
I don't know what that time is, but I know it's.
Have you ever gotten to that point where it was court ordered?
No, the most I stayed in the hospital was 5 days.
5 days. Yeah. Now afterwards, you go to an outpatient treatment.
Yeah, but they set me up with that once. It didn't work for me. It was in 2013, but counseling helped me more than the outpatient one.
Counseling and family support.
That's my two biggest support systems.
Now, what about you besides your husband? I mean, you just mentioned Thanksgiving dinner, which wasn't so friendly, and the Portuguese family, which isn't so accepting of mental illness. It's a vergonha. It's that type of stuff, which means an embarrassment.
Yeah.
I have other family members now gotten hip to what's going on with you and offered to say, hey, listen, I'm here if you need me.
No one that's already done it before, like, my sister's always been there for me, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my in-laws, but everybody else just kind of already, they kind of do their own thing. So no one that hasn't really, no new people from my family. They're just kind of like doing their own thing, which is fine, because,
Yeah, but it still must bother you. Like, man, that's me, You guys are supposed to here to help me,
I mean,
it is what it is, right?
It is what it is, and
that's why God gave you Nate then.
Yeah, and I'm not doing it for attention, and I know who to call if I ever feel like.
Oh gosh, no! Being sick isn't for attention.
Trust me, I'd rather be a hermit than have this.
Yeah. And
not have anybody know who the hell I was.
Now I've seen you get anxious, but a lot of people view you, and this is what I mean. She doesn't seem like she's sick, but she is. And this is part of this show. We got to take this taboo away. We have to show people there's another place. Now, speaking of other places, you both run Facebook groups, large groups that, help people. Now that, I know she does it, but now that you've gotten your help and now you've set up these support systems through Facebook, which is a great thing. Facebook can either be terrible or great. And we talk about it every show about how it either helps or hurts. Yeah. And in your case, you set up these groups. You're out there trying to help now. Does that also help you a little bit by helping others?
Big time. It helps me a lot because it just makes me feel good knowing that I can save a life. It's like if a doctor did a big surgery and it was life-threatening surgery, and they were able to save a life. That's the way.
If you talk someone out of something.
If you talk someone out of it, that's how I feel.
And now, you being the admin of this group, you're getting these personal messages, private messages, excuse me.
Yep, I got a few.
You sit there and you take the time to help this individual.
Yep, I always talk to them. I even give my number out without hesitation.
No kidding.
Yeah, I tell people they can call me whenever. Because I know that helps me a lot, is when I call people. So it's my number, and I give it out to people and without hesitation if they need it.
That's amazing, And I'm glad it helps you out, too.
Yeah.
It's an unselfish thing, but I tell people just in general that when you help somebody, you end up getting just as much out of it as that person you're helping, A lot of these people, you're running around and now we're doing a coat drive. Don't you stop? I had one person say, you should log how many hours you put into these things you do. And I'm like, man, I don't do it for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care about the hours. I'm like, I find them and I do them. My wife might get pissed at me once in a while because, she has to handle the load while I'm not around. Yeah. But then she's as charitable as they come. I explained about the clothes, And I end up getting so much out of it. Just, how it feels good to help other people is completely addictive.
It is.
It's, it's a feeling like no other. Like, man, look at that smile. Or in your case, gosh, mine is puny in comparison to what you do by walking these people off the figurative ledge, of taking their own lives. And I commend you for that, because you could easily, just be worried about yourself because you got your own problems.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it is therapeutic for you as well, because there is an incentive to being there for other people.
Yeah.
Now your group just keeps growing. You post on it all the time, and I'm glad you stay on it. I'm glad you stay on it. There's a couple of times where I don't get the notification for a while. I'm like, and I go on your wall and make sure you still got Facebook.
I know. I try. Like the only reason why I have a Facebook now is because of the group. And you know what? After the first interview we had, I remember you messaging me, "Hey, so do you regret doing the interview, or are you happy you did it?" And I'm like, "I don't know, Chris. I don't know." But literally that day that because it was early in the day when we spoke, literally that day I started getting a ton of messages on advice, or and then the messages, the love and the support just like poured in from a bunch of people. And
absolutely.
And you know, I had one message from someone in the group who was like, "Well, you know, what's the point of having the group if no one posts?" But it's okay if they don't post. I get it, and that's not what the group is for. I don't need like you know, people to post every day, and they don't have to. A lot of them.
It's there if you need it.
Exactly, and I post a lot of anonymous. It's almost like I'm saying it, but actually someone requested.
Oh, so they private message you?
Yes. Oh, can you talk about this, or can you post about this? You know, because they don't. They're embarrassed. They don't want people to judge them, and I totally get it. And I would never sell anyone out.
And that's the thing, man. I mean, this is what this is about: getting it out there, showing people that every day, every walk of life, you got 3 different people sitting at this table and 3 different experiences. Luckily, thank the Lord, I don't deal with it directly, but it also hurts my heart that one of the people I love the most suffers from it daily. You know, super successful. Everybody looks at him, ton of money, da-da-da. Means nothing, you know. And now, to get away from the loneliness, he consumes himself with business, you know. And I'm sure you've found addictions to get out and deal with your anxiety.
Yeah.
We got a street fighter. She'll be in the octagon. When, Nate? Next year.
Like this morning, like
She's
I
just
lost
gonna go out
like
and fight.
I've only had like 4 hours of sleep because of, you know, just the anticipation of the interview. And I woke up early this morning, and I was just like, I was so anxious. I'm like, oh my God, so I'm not going to work out today. I'm not going to go to the gym. And, you know, I'm like, no, I have to.
You need that.
Because I felt like I was going to pass out. Like I felt my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was scared that I was going to have a panic attack. But I'm like, no, Adelia, it's the opposite. I have so much energy that I have to release. Like, don't be scared. That's exact. I took my dog for a long walk, and I hit the gym for about an hour and a half, and I felt better after. Like, I'm not completely 100% chill, but I.
Now, you said something earlier that really speaks to me because I'm actually taking it up, and I've noticed a huge difference in the way my train of thought. Meditation and getting to be able to calm down and get outside of your mind.
Yeah.
Is that something that you practice or yourself, or is it something you've looked into to try to really manage getting out of your head? Like that's part of the meditation process, if you really get into it, is literally to look at yourself from a third person. If you really get it good, you can actually find yourself staring at yourself. Do you ever try that to, you know, any meditation or any forms of meditation to feel good when you're down and out?
The only thing I've done is, outside of my counseling and medicine and stuff like that, is deep breathing.
Deep breathing is actually a form of, I forget, pranayama or something like that.
Yeah.
Breathing meditation.
So I've done deep. The worst thing to do is, because I also get panic attacks, well, I used to get panic attacks, I used to like breathe very, very fast.
Shallow breathing,
Yeah.
Shallow breathing is the worst.
It is the worst.
It is.
Got to return that oxygen back to your brain.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to see, I sent myself the message the other day because I wanted to. Pranayama is the breathing meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, practiced by the Buddhist, I believe.
And it feels
I have it,
amazing.
I text myself.
If you can do it for at least like 5 minutes, it really it gets rid of the adrenaline and the nerves.
It actually sets you straight, man.
It
At least it does with me.
works.
People must think I'm a weirdo in the parking lot of the gym because I get out 4 a.m. I'm in there. I don't get into the gym until like 4:45 because I spend a good 15, 20 minutes doing my meditation apps in the car prior to getting my day going. You know what I mean? I pray before I get out of bed, but then meditation is key, and I notice the difference when I don't meditate.
Yeah.
So that's something. Look into it, man.
Yeah, I will.
You know, just
Yeah.
I forget the Dr. Joe Dispenza. is a guy that I've been really following. And gosh, I mean, this is a guy that self-healed spinal issues through the power of meditation. It's crazy, you know, and he does all the brain scans on meditation and what it does.
Well, the brain is a very powerful.
We only use a piece of it, tiny piece.
Yeah.
You'd be wicked smart if you used it all. Let's just go back, and I want to just talk about support and what it is that you can offer to any of the guests watching here. If you know, how you'll be there for anybody, because this is what the purpose of this is. I want you guys to assure the viewers that if you need something, any resources that you have, anybody that you know that they can call, or yourself, or your group name that they can look up on Facebook, let them know now, so that way, you know, we get something out. Hopefully we can get somebody to reach out and get some help tonight that's out there that needs it.
Yep. My group is Suicide Prevention. It's on Facebook. You can also look me up by my name, Jeremy Goldblatt. I'm on Facebook. I'm active. It's a public page, so if you don't want to send me the request, you can see anything I post. I do that on purpose so people that I'm not friends with can share my post and it can go to their friends.
Absolutely.
So my profile is public.
So Jeremy Goldblatt, and then the group is just suicide prevention in general? Or?
Yeah, suicide. I think it's called Suicide Prevention Awareness.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll share the link after. I'll get it from you, and we'll be sure to post it in the comment section.
Yeah.
Adelia, what's your group that you have?
It's a mental health and suicide support.
And it's active. She's out there doing it.
Yeah, and it's a closed group just because the group's been around for a year now, and I get these really I know that it's fake, they're fake accounts, and I don't want...
You don't want to expose people that are vulnerable to any type of stuff. I get it.
I've been on Facebook long enough, I know what a fake account looks like, so that's why I keep it closed.
But there's the thing about fake accounts, it may be somebody that wants to stay anonymous that wants help.
True, yeah, I didn't think of that, yeah.
So you may, I don't know, I'm not going to tell you how to
May
run
want to open it. I mean, it was open to the public. I'm protective of my people.
I know, I understand why you're doing it. And, but you got, you know, people have fake accounts for different reasons. One of them maybe they're scared or they're embarrassed.
Right.
That's all. Guys, one more time, franchise group. You got another day to get these shirts. Supports the New Bedford Suicide Coalition. It's a good cause. Please go on. I'll put the link up at the end of the show. Nick Francis will run another one of these over at the franchise group, and it'll support a great cause. Keep it 100 is something that John used to say a bunch. Big-hearted kid that always kept it 100, and hence the shirt. Again, your walk is scheduled for?
October 20th from 11 to 4.
October 20th, 11 to 4. Yep. I'll be sure to probably attend and go live there, but we'll also promote that as well. Okay, awesome. And any events that you got coming up?
No, he took the wheel, and I'll be there.
Excellent, that's awesome. How does a show like this help you? Did you? I know I was a little nervous. Yeah. You know, I don't talk to the guests prior because I get yelled at if I do, because we do all the material prior to the show. So I kind of just sat on the couch and said, "I'll talk to you at the show. I promise you." Do you feel relieved that you came on? Is this something that helped?
Because I feel like it's helping somebody out there.
Oh, I know it helps somebody out there. Absolutely. We get a lot of comments of people. I can go through some of them. We have a few minutes that. Mostly, no one knows that I have been clinically diagnosed. I keep it to myself. I've been on meds for many years. Then you have the people, anxiety is horrible to many people, as you used to. I have no idea what it is. It's just a very important issue. Glad to hear the discussion. Nick, your brother.
Yeah.
Love you, dog. J-Dog. Support Jeremy's prevention walk. Same counsel for 24 years. You know, there's people that are relating to this. There's people that this is resonating with, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
you. It's people like you that survive and go through it that show that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Now, not only have you tried to take several attempts at your life, you're now helping others.
Yeah.
And it's great that it reinforces your desire to live as well.
Yep, exactly.
By helping others.
Yeah.
And seems like your fiance, you were a big hug tonight because she's kept you.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Nate, I'll give him a hug later. Yeah, for keeping. He always, driving Miss Daisy.
He is, poor thing.
No, he's not a poor thing. He's
I
lucky to have you, and you're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Is there anything we didn't touch upon? I mean, I got a minute or two, and I want to make sure that I didn't leave anything out, because I'm the ignorant guy here. I'm just trying to learn and help.
I don't know.
I can't think of it. I think this is great, and I love that people are talking about their experience in the comment section. I think that's huge, because people don't talk about these things, especially not online.
People don't talk about it.
So
and
I
like I
appreciate
said,
anybody that's
Facebook, yeah, of course, to come out and say I deal with it and I've been on meds and nobody knows about it. But I bet you that's liberating for that person.
Yes, absolutely, and it's also they're helping someone else, because 40 million people have anxiety. They're being diagnosed every day, and 40 million Americans have anxiety, panic attacks.
I have loved ones with anxiety.
It's
I talk
so
about my
common.
friend that has it because he's got it bad.
Right.
But someone like one of the closest people in my life suffers from anxiety.
Yeah.
That was brought upon after a traumatic incident. So, I got a lot of horses in this race.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it takes a village. We need everybody in it together.
Yeah, and anybody that looks down at people with mental illness, and just try to help them. Hands up, help a person out, listen. For someone that doesn't know, what advice to a viewer right now do you both of you, one at a time, what's the best piece of advice that if you have a loved one or a friend that suffers, what can you tell them to do to help that person?
Biggest thing is to reach out to them, talk to them, get them the help they need, stuff like that. Counseling is huge. Get them to see a right counselor, stuff like that. Or
just don't try to understand or try to rationalize what's going on. Just be there for that person, because I had my aunt had it really bad, and I didn't know that she suffered the same way I did. She wasn't leaving the house. She wasn't doing activities outside of the house with her kids. Like, she was a caged bird, kind of like I was. And my cousin, her son, said, "My mom had it. I will never understand it, but he was there for her." That's it. Don't try to understand it or rationalize it. You're never going to, unless you actually go through it yourself. Just be there. That's it. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm guilty of it. I tried reading books, tried understanding it.
You won't.
And then you realize that every single person's mental illness is different. Mm-hmm. It's unique to that individual, and no book is going to help you understand that unique individual's unique illness. Mm-hmm. You can get a gist of it, but from what I've noticed, just listening and being a good friend, that's what's helped the people I'm with,
like Jeremy said earlier, I've also lost a lot of friends because I was backing out on plans all the time. Like, I'd make plans, and then the day would come, the anticipation would just eat me alive, and I'd be like, sorry, I can't do it. And I've lost a lot of friends, and I'm not even mad at them about that, because I can't expect them to understand something they've never experienced in their lives. So even though we've lost touch, I'm not even mad about it, because I have people who never experienced it, but they're there for me, and that's all I need, because if I didn't have that, I probably...
One good question from one last viewer, and Scotty's always on, and I appreciate your viewership, Scotty. He's a good guy, and he's got a great question. Advice to approach someone who you feel is suffering but won't admit it and refuses to talk. What do you tell that friend that says something's off and he's not admitting it, but I want to help him? How do they approach?
I would have to say is, even if they don't want to talk about it, that's what he's saying?
Yeah, they kind of hide it. He thinks something's up, but they don't really want to talk about it or admit it or refuse to talk about it. Can you force somebody to talk about it? Can you just keep bothering them with it to show them you love and you care? Or is there a point or any type of way to talk to this person from your experience?
Yeah, there's ways. It's not easy, because I've been there where I didn't want to talk to anybody. But the biggest thing you could do is try to get their personality out of them.
Do something fun with them.
Fun, joke around, stuff like that. That's helped me.
How about yourself?
I'm more of an open book, so if people are going to come to me and be like, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," I'm good. But I'm not sure from like a man's, point of view.
Woman, it's 2018, we're all equal.
Oh, yeah. So like I said, I'm more of an open book. So if you're going to ask me something, I'm going to tell you.
Just be direct. And your advice is just to come out and be direct.
Yeah, just come out and be direct with that person. Because I've had people do that for me. But like I said, it doesn't take much to get me going.
Yes, it does.
It does.
She's lying a little bit. Once she gets going, it takes a lot to stop her, though.
True, yeah, I guess.
I left her alone when she walked in, and I ignored her for the first, 3 minutes. I'm like, hey, nice seeing you. Then I walked away, talked to your husband for a while, and I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm not being mean. I'm just letting you warm up a little bit.
I know. I'm like, what the hell happened to our relationship, Chris? I thought we were friends, man.
You are my girl. You are super important to this area, and as are you,
Well, thank you.
I appreciate what you're doing. Please keep in touch so that way I can promote that walk and make sure it happens correctly. And anybody, if you're suffering and you can't find them on Facebook or you can't find their group, shoot me a message. Email me, Chris at New Bedford Guys, and we'll get there. We'll make sure that I put you in touch with the proper people. And if I have a few minutes to talk to you, I'll try to. I promise you. I may put you in a worse place because I don't know what I'm saying half the time. So you might want to talk to the experts. But I'll make sure that you have someone to talk to, whether it's some of the resources I acquire through the show, or I got some doctor friends who have been on the show that they can recommend the proper outlets for you to get the help you need and the people you need to talk to. Also, I'm going to put the link at the bottom of the comments. Pause for Tanner. Again, if you have it in your heart to help a little boy who needs a dog, a service dog, to help his quality of life, whether it's $1, $5, $100, whatever you have in your heart, we'll put the link for this in the comments section, and we'll be talking about it again. I'm going to try to get him on the show soon. He was supposed to be on tonight, but he's not feeling well. I mean, look at that face. That could be your son, your brother, your nephew, your neighbor. Help out. Be a good community member and reach out, throw $1 out there, throw 5, throw 100. Let's get this kid his dog that he needs to have a better life. Everybody, 8 o'clock, gotta go. Thank you for your viewership. And then again, thank you for being part of an important topic. And let's destigmatize and just completely take away the stigma of mental illness. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Success, unsuccessful, quiet, loud, obnoxious. It ranges. All different type of people have mental illness. And the best thing you can do is just treat them with compassion, love, and be kind. A little dignity goes a long way. Have a great day, great night as it is, and see you next week.